Most Adani Group shares went down a lot on Monday because the Indian conglomerate's answer to criticism from a U.S. short seller didn't make investors feel better. This made a market crash worse, and now the group's stocks are worth $65 billion less than they were before. Hindenburg Research and the Indian conglomerate run by Asia's richest man, Gautam Adani, are in a heated argument. On Sunday, they responded to the short report seller's report from the week before, which made people worried about the company's high debt and use of tax havens. Adani has said that it follows all local laws and has told regulatory authorities everything they need to know. On January 30th, Adani Total Gas, Adani Transmission, Adani Green Energy, Adani Power, and Adani Wilmar all lost between 5% and 20% of their value. Adani Enterprise main company, which will be put to a big test this week with a follow-on share offering, went up and down before ending the day 4.8% higher. This week, Adani Enterprises is going to be put to a huge test. It stayed quite a bit lower than the offer price of the issue, which, if it goes through, will be India's biggest sale of shares of this kind. Adani Enterprises sold $2.5 billion worth of shares in a secondary market that took 2 days and was met with negative reactions from investors. The stock was traded at 2,892.85 rupees, which is 7% less than the lowest price in the offer price range, which was 3,112 rupees. Goods in the upper price band cost 3,276 rupees. Monday, information from different stock exchanges showed that Adani has now been offered 1.4 million shares, which is a little more than 3% of the 45.5 million shares that are now available. On Tuesday, the deal will be finalized. Institutional investors from inside and outside the country and mutual funds have not yet put in any bids, according to the data. Hemang Jani, the equity strategist at Motilal Oswal Financial Services, said, "Retail participation is likely to be low because current market prices are still lower than the offer price, and sentiment is down because of the Hindenburg scandal. Retail participation is likely to be low because current market prices are still lower than the offer price, and the Hindenburg scandal has hurt public opinion. Even though the share sale might not go as planned, it'll be very important to watch how institutional investors participate in this sale today." Gautam Adani, the chairwoman of the Indian conglomerate Adani Group, is shown here giving a presentation at the World Congress of Accountants, which took place in Mumbai. Gautam Adani, an Indian billionaire, is the richest person in all of Asia. He has a business empire that includes coal, airports, cement, and the media. But there are claims that Gautam Adani cheated his company out of money. Sources said that the bankers of the country's largest secondary share sale were thinking about extending the deadline past January 31st or changing the price because the price of the shares had dropped. However, Adani Group told Reuters on Saturday that the sale would go ahead as planned at the planned issue price. Even though sources said that the sales bankers were thinking about extending the deadline past January 31st or changing the price because of the drop in its share price, Adani Group said this. In India, the law says that the first public offering of shares must be bought by at least 90% of the people who want them, and if it doesn't, the issuer has to pay back the full cost. Several investors like Maybank Securities and the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority put in bids for the anchor part of the offering. Maybank said in a statement that there is no financial impact because the money used to sign up for Adani's offer came from clients. This is because the subscription was paid for in full by the client. Life Insurance Corporation, LIC, a huge state-run insurance company, told Reuters on Monday that it was evaluating the Adani Group's response to Hindenburg's assessment and that it would talk to the company's management over the next few days. 5% of the anchor component, which is worth $734 million, was given to LIC. It already has a 4.23% stake in the main Adani company. It also has a 9.14% stake in Adani Ports and a 5.96% stake in Adani Total Gas. Raj Kumar, the managing director of LIC, was quoted as saying that because it is a big investment, the company has the right to ask important questions. Debt deleveraging. Adani Ports and Special Economic Zones US dollar-based bonds kept going down for a second week. The bond, with a maturity date of August 2027, fell 5 cents to 73.03 cents, which is the lowest level since June 2020. In trading, the value of the group's other bonds that were worth dollars also went down. MSCI, which makes indexes, has said that it's asking market players for their thoughts on Adani and is keeping an eye on the factors that may affect the eligibility of certain relevant shares for inclusion in MSCI indexes. In its response on Sunday, Adani talked about its relationships with local and international banks as well as its access to a wide range of funding sources and structures. It gave a list of banks, including American ones like Citigroup and JP Morgan Chase & Company, BNP Paribas, Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, Barclays, and Standard Chartered are some of the other banks that lend money. Adani, who is 60 years old, has lost a lot of money because the stock market crashed. Some of the school dropouts' group stocks went up by more than 1,500% over the course of 3 years. This made him the third richest man in the world, according to Forbes. On Monday, though, he dropped to the 8th spot on the list. Hindenburg's answer to Adani's counterargument was that the company's answer substantially supported our findings and didn't answer our most important questions. Hindenburg said in its analysis of Adani companies that they had significant debt and that sky-high valuations meant that shares in 7 of them had an 85% downside. Hindenburg also said that the considerable debt was a bad thing. In its answer, Adani pointed out that its group companies have consistently deleveraged over the past 10 years. As the ports-to-power giant tries to calm investor fears and stop a stock panic that's been going on for 3 weeks, billionaire Gautam Adani and his family have paid back $1.11 billion in shares-backed loans. The early payment to the founders will help get 11.77 million Adani shares out into the market. Transmission Limited said in a statement released on Monday that up to 168.27 million shares of Adani Ports and Special Economic Zone Limited and up to 27.56 million shares of Adani Green Energy Limited could be sold to the public. After hearing about the deal, Adani Ports gains went up to 9.3%, while Adani Transmission and Adani Green both lost 10% and 5% for the day, respectively, after an attack by short sellers in late January wiped out $118 billion of the group's market value and forced the flagship to cancel a share sale. Adani's trying to restore confidence in the financial health of his huge conglomerate. The attack was done by the same people who did the attack. Hindenburg Research, which is based in the United States, has accused it of accounting fraud, stock price manipulation, and using their inflated shares as collateral for loans. Adani has pushed back against these claims more than once. In an interview that aired on January 30th, Adani Group's chief financial officer, Jugesinder Singh, said that the group's total debt is about $30 billion. The Indian news channel CNBC TV 18 asked for and did the interview. Bloomberg reported a week ago, citing people with knowledge of the situation, that the Adani Group was in talks with creditors to pay back some loans backed by pledged shares. It was said that the talk was about paying off some loans early. People think that the most important goal of the prepayment is to get rid of any worries about margin calls. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more.